but we would like to welcome you to SAT Math on this beautiful Tuesday evening. I am Skylar. We're here for Tutored by Teachers in the Georgia Department of Education. I am super excited to have you guys here. I've been teaching 6th to 12th grade math in the state of Florida for about a decade. I love wrestling and fishing, but we're not one-man shows here. We have Ms. Ashley. Introduce yourself for everybody.
My name's Miss Ashley, and I am from Arkansas, so I'm very close to you guys. I love to fish too. I'm probably a better fisher than Skylar. And I have my fun fact is I have an identical twin sister. She lives in Georgia and she works as an SLP, a speech language pathologist in Georgia.
That is fantastic. We are so excited to have everybody from Georgia here. While you guys have a chance, make sure to grab a pencil and a paper. You're going to need those today. We're going to need a pencil and a paper. If you've been in our webinars for the last couple of days or anything like that, you're going to know we really like the Desmos graphing calculator. Miss Ashley is going to go ahead and drop that in the chat if she can. Miss Ashley will try to drop that in the chat, but she's also going to give us some instructions for success. So I already mentioned the Desmos graphing calculator. That's the one that is built in a blue book. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in a second, but we want to make sure that you guys have everything you need strategy wise to get these things going. And we're going to get you guys going. Miss Ashley, I'm going to take over the instructions for success while you drop that Desmos link in the
Perfect.
chat.
Thank you.
Now, we want to make sure today you guys are limiting distractions. You're going to treat this like an SAT prep class. So if you were in the classroom, you would be focused up, listening to your teachers, taking notes, writing things down, doing your best. Now, we're going to record this for you guys, and we're going to send it to you so you don't have to worry if you miss a little thing here or there. We're going to do our best to get through all of our content in 1 hour. It's going to go super quick. So make sure that you guys are focused in while you can. But if you miss something, don't stress out. Now, we want to make sure you guys keep a growth mindset. We're going to have times where maybe you guys make an error. Maybe you guys are having a little bit of a problem with one of the problems. Don't stress about that. I want to make sure that you guys know that there's going to be problems that get you. We're going to give you guys some tips to get through those tough ones. And we're going to give you some tips that you can use on all of them. So make sure you're taking notes. Make sure you're doing all the things you need to do to just have a good session with us today. Now, our session goals, we want to make sure we learn key SAT math strategies. We're going to go through some of the tools and some of the strategies with you today. Of course, we've been talking about that Desmos graphing calculator, and you want to make sure that you're using that because it's the same one that is built into Blue Book for you. So when you are doing your SAT, you get the same calculator that we're going to practice with today. We're going to make sure that you guys use that calculator. It's the practice one. It's the exact same as what's on your SAT. And if you practice how you play, you're going to be doing a lot.
Yes, I like
The
that.
strength and skills needed for math in the SAT. Now, Miss Ashley, can you tell us our learning target just like if we were in class?
Yes, today our learning target is we are going to strengthen our ability to solve non-linear functions and equations. We're going to work with equivalent expressions. And Skylar is going to show you how to use the Desmos calculator as needed when there is a tough problem that maybe would take a long time to work out by hand. And he would be able to show you how you can put it in the Desmos calculator and solve it pretty quickly.
That's right. Now, not everything can be solved with the Desmos graphing calculator, but there's plenty of times where it is going to help us out. Now, we're going to go ahead and open up a poll. We want to know what goal you have for this prep session. While you're stuck in here with us, you're not stuck. We appreciate you joining us. But while you're in here with us, what is your goal? I want to know what you want to have figured out by the end. Maybe you want to learn how to use the Desmos calculator. Maybe you want to add to your test taking strategies. Do you want to improve your algebra skills? Or maybe We are in all of the above.
Yes, so I've got 56% all of the above, and
What?
I've got 25% add to my SAT test taking strategies. That is perfect, you guys. Please do not be afraid to try these strategies while you're in here on your own, because we want this webinar to be just like when you're prepping for your SAT in the classroom.
That's right. You guys are all doing great, doing a little bit of extra work this evening. You guys should all be proud of yourselves. And you guys, we're going to get you the best you can. So if you want to improve all of the above, we're going to do everything we can to improve all of those things for you guys. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about the SAT. Miss Ashley is an expert on the breakdown of the modules. She's going to use that word a million times. Please, Miss Ashley, break this down for us.
Yes, the SAT math portion has 44 questions and it's 70 minutes. It builds on skills from your reading and writing. The timing and pacing is about 95 seconds per question. And do not forget that this is a digital test. So we want you to expect to see the Desmos calculator online, and you're going to take your test all online. So make sure you're prepared for that.
That's right. The SAT is digital and it's adaptive. That's a word I might not be so familiar with. Miss Ashley, tell us about the adaptive part of our SAT.
An adaptive part of an SAT means that they are going to give you easy and medium questions in your first module. So there's two modules. Your first module will have easy, medium questions. How you do on that first module, dependent on how you do, you will be placed in a higher category in module 2, where you can score higher if you do perform well in module 1. So module 1 is super important. If you see in module 1 you're getting harder questions, then know that you're doing good. So an adaptive test is going to give you harder questions. And also, and Scholar's going to show you this, they will try to trick you on these questions. They are not just laid out there. So Scholar's going to show you some really good strategies so you're able to pick out that right answer.
That's right. And all this happens in Blue Book. That's your official testing app. All of the stuff we show you today, you're going to be able to practice with and you're going to be able to use just like you do on your SAT. Now, today, we're going to focus on the algebra and a little bit of that advanced math portion of your test. Now, the reason why we're focusing on these is because it's the biggest breakdown, biggest percentage of your test. Most of the stuff you do is going to be stuff from your Algebra 1, your Algebra 1, and some of your Algebra 2 classes, right? There's going to be some geometry mixed in there too, but really they like algebra questions and they really, really like to put things in real world context. Miss Ashley loves real world context in her math problems, right?
Yes, real world context means we're going to connect algebra problems to other subjects such as science and social studies. And I'm almost certain you've seen a higher level math in your science classes. So you're able to apply them in science. And oftentimes when you are in math, you're like, why am I learning this? What is this going to do for me? So this is a way to see that we can actually put it in real world context and we'll understand what they're trying to get out of that math question realistically.
That's right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start breaking things down. But first, I want to make sure you guys have that Desmos graphing calculator open. Now, I want to make sure you guys have this open. If you don't stress out. If you're sitting and you're watching on your phone, we appreciate you getting this however you get it. Now, that just means that later, maybe you watch the recording and then you try working it out when you're on a computer. Try using some of these tools, try using some of these tricks. You could even slow it down. I know I talk a little bit fast. Hit that slow speed down button, and then maybe you guys will pick up what I'm saying. Now, we're moving fast because we're getting you guys a lot of content. Please watch the recording and you can try the things we talk about on a Desmos practice. Now, if you guys have the ability to open it up while we're working, absolutely work along with us. That's the best way to learn. I appreciate your effort. A couple other tools we want to make sure we highlight. Remember, we can mark things for review, and we can also use our strike through tool to cross things that are out or cross things out that we know for sure are wrong. We're going to talk a little bit about that today, but we want to make sure that you guys know that those tools are there. You can come back to questions, and those are just our general test taking skills. Now, today, as we work through, we're going to have 3 key strategies that we use to solve these problems. Now, there's more things you could do to solve problems. Sometimes you can combine one or more of these strategies, but we're going to tell you in each problem how we would have solved the problem. Doesn't mean the way that you did it was wrong, but we tried to find the optimal approach so that you spend less time working on questions that are easier and more time thinking through the ones that are tougher, because we really want to manage our time on that SAT. If you're one of those students that find yourself rushing at the end of the test, we're going to try to help you guys out by giving you tools to solve even the ones you know a little bit quicker. So today we're going to talk about graphing it out. We're going to talk about working it by hand. And we're going to talk about eliminating and back checking. And look out for those sticky notes on the slides. You guys are going to see that we use all of them today. Now let's get into a little bit of the action. We have a function f defined by f of x equals x squared plus x plus 71. They ask us what is the value of f of 2. There's a lot of info going on. And let's remember our 3 strategies: graph it out, work it by hand, and eliminate and back check. Right now, take 30 seconds to just pick a strategy to solve the problem. 30 seconds. And then you're going to tell us what you picked. So we're thinking, what's the best way to work this one out?
Maybe I would say work it by hand. I love working things by hand, though.
I was working things out. I'm a big eliminate and back check guy. I like Desmos too, but eliminate and back check, I don't have to do all the work. I don't like doing all the work if I don't have to. This actually is going to open up a poll.
Here we go.
I'm going to open up a poll, right? What are we doing? We're going to double check our poll.
Let me grab the different one. My apologies, you guys.
We're going to pop up the right question for you guys. We should be seeing strategies and we should be seeing what we're doing. Now, the answers are going to be graph it out, work it by hand, eliminate, and back check. Maybe you're not sure. Let's think about it for a couple more seconds, and then we are going to flood this poll. Now, if you're working this out on your own, that's perfect. That's exactly what we're going to do next. So if you do know that part 2 of the poll where it's asking you what you got for your answer, you can put those in too.
Thank you, guys. Everybody's participating, Skylar.
Fantastic.
I've got a lot of people saying they're going to work it by hand, 64%. And then 91% say the answer is 77.
Well, let's check this one out. Now, here's how I would work through this problem. Now, if you worked it out by hand, that's fantastic. If you got the right answer, even fantasticer. But it's not a real word. Don't take that into your own good testing. Now, even better, what we want to do is make sure that we're speeding up the process best you can. So if all you learn is a couple of neat tips and tricks and you knew how to do everything today, maybe I help you speed up your test taking process so that you can use that super brain on the problems that are tough. Now, we have our same question. We can use our graphing calculator here to save time. It's going to perform some of these calculations for you, and it can provide you a visual answer that's going to help us out. So if you have your Desmos graphing calculator open, it's going to look just like mine. This is the practice one. And you see I have some blank boxes, and I'm sitting at home at the origin. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is type this into the calculator. Now, we're going to use our math tools to make exponents. If you didn't know, we can make exponents with that little a to the second power there. And I'm hoping that if you're not practicing with us right now, you practice sometime on the computer before your SAT. I don't want you guys looking around during the question on your SAT. Where's that exponent? Right? You're going to see them because the algebra portion is a big section of your SAT.
We see that 91% have the 77.
I have 77. Well, let's go ahead and check this out. Now, I typed my equation into that top box of the calculator, and check this out. Maybe you knew this, maybe you didn't know it. You can type in f of 2 into the second box, and it will run the whole calculation for you. So I can have that x squared plus x plus 71, and instead of you writing down and substituting in and making sure that I did my PEMDAS, right, my order of operations, I can type that in and it will run it for me. Now, it'll run it for you no matter how complicated your equation is, as long as you type it in, right? So if you have something a little bit crazier than what I have up here and you have to substitute in, use this tool from this example on something like that. So hopefully you guys learned that we can plug these things in. Now, if you want a visual answer, we can zoom out and we can type x equals 2 into our equation, and we can actually see where these things interact and intersect. So I have x equals 2. That's my straight up and down line. If you were here yesterday, we talked about our touchdown arms. It goes straight up through my parabola, and that point of intersection can be found by clicking. And I see that when I
It's really hard to see that parabola. Can we use the feature?
Oh, we can. We talked yesterday about using that zoom tool on the side. It's not in my screen right now, but there is a click and zoom tool that you guys can use. We can check those out when we're doing our live Desmos demonstration later. Ms. Ashley said that not all of you guys, but already onwards, guys, 91% put 77. Fantastic answer. Remember, if you're crushing these problems, the important thing to take away is the tool. So I hope that you learned a little tick and trick on that one. Fantastic job. Now, we're going to pull up another example, and this one's going to be a system of equations. I have y equals x plus 1 and y equals x squared plus x. It says if xy is a solution to the system of equations above, which of the following could be a value of x? Now, we have some really strong tools we can use here, but they only work if we know our vocabulary. So we want to make sure that we know what's going on. Now, we're going to slow down. I've been talking fast. I want to give you guys 60 seconds to work this on your own before we open up any polls, before we do any explaining, before we get crazy. 60 seconds. You guys go ahead. Remember your strategies. You can graph it out. You can look at my hand, or you can eliminate and back check. Remember, if you don't have access to a calculator right now, if you don't have access to pencil and paper, it's all recorded. It's all being sent to you. You can always pull this up later and you can watch, follow along. You can write things out. Maybe you pause it, work it out, unpause it. Plenty of things you can do with this recording. We're so happy that you guys are here.
Yes. Thank you guys for coming and participating in the polls. We are so excited that you guys are here to learn new strategies. Most importantly, though, we want you to have confidence in yourself. We want you to go in that test and know that you're going to do good. However you do, you're going out of your way to take a SAT so you can further your education at some point. So make sure you're confident in going in that test.
That's right. Now, we want to know if you know what a solution to a system of equations is. That's going to be part of your poll. The other part of your poll will be the answer. If you already have the answer, fantastic. That's cool too. But what is a solution? That's that vocabulary we're talking about. You didn't think you were going to be talking about vocabulary until tomorrow's session. We start talking about our English SAT skills, but we're doing vocabulary here in mathematics as well. That's that crossover. Hopefully, we are flooding these polls.
Yes. So about 45%, the strategy they're using is the intersection of graphs. So that is our biggest.
Wow, that's our solution, huh? Okay. That's our solution.
I don't know. Is it our solution?
Let's see what happens. Now, you guys should be seeing my Desmos graphing calculator. It's popped up on the screen. I've already typed in our two graphs. Now, I love the Desmos graphing calculator because it puts it in color. I can see the colors and I can see the intersections. What we need to make sure we are doing is typing these in correctly, double, triple check. You guys will have a digital calculator that you can pull right next to the problem and type it next to the problem. You can move it around. So I'm going to type the equation in their own boxes, and all you have to do is click those intersections to see the points. Now, we got to remember what our question asked, and we're going to go back to that. But I have an intersection at that -1, 0, and I have an intersection at 1, 2. You guys crushed that poll. You said
58% intersections of the graph. Very, very good.
that's right. You guys said the intersections of the graphs were our solutions. So I'm going to remember that -1, 0, and that 1, 2. Those are my solutions. So the possible x values, which is what the question asked, right? You guys can still see the poll, hopefully. And it says, which is the value of x? I got -1 and 1.
Let's
-1 and 1 are our only solutions. We know that A is our answer because it's the only one that's on here from our solution set, right?
81% got -1, got the answer correct. Wow, you guys, good job.
Now, if you were one of those that put a different solution, we don't want you guys stressing out. There are some common pitfalls you can fall in, even if you knew how to do the problem. If you graphed it correctly, you're smart kids, you guys are crushing it, and maybe you got tripped up on some vocab. Remember, there's a couple of things that commonly trip students up on problems like this. Miss Ashley, what are some of these errors? What can we fall into?
Some of the common errors that you're going to see on these type of problems is you may make a mistake when solving the system by hand. I like to solve systems by hand, but it is good to know other strategies. That way, when you put it in the Desmos calculator, you can double check your work, or vice versa. You can do it vice versa. You pick 2 because the system has 2 solutions. That does not mean it has 2 solutions. It does not mean you're picking 2. Okay, choosing 0, 1, or 2 because they appear as coordinate values. You guys, we are not going to look at the coordinate values specifically for this 0, 1, or 2. And then it could be something else.
Maybe it's something else. Remember, the SAT is tricky about those. They put 0s, 1s, and 2s in all of those coordinates because they know these pitfalls when they're designing questions. They know that you guys are kids. They might even put a 6, 7 in there to see if you'll put it. Unless it's the answer. Don't put it unless it's the answer. Don't get that stuck in my head, Miss Ashley. I'm being crazy. Now we're going to pop up another example. This time, I want you to try to graph it out on Desmos. I have those weird lines over there. Miss Ashley, do you remember what that line is?
On the graph?
Oh, the lines. I have 2, and then it's a line. I have 4 minus x.
Oh, absolute value bars. I didn't know what you were talking about. Lines. Absolute value bars. Remember, absolute value bars make everything positive, and
That's right. Everything's going to be positive. So they're looking for the positive solution. They gave us an equation with a bunch of absolute value bars. You guys are trying to graph it out. We're going to see the key that makes the absolute value bars. If you didn't know, Desmos can handle this too. Let's check it out. I'm giving you guys time to graph. Now, you guys should be looking at a graph. If you don't have a graphing calculator in front of you, maybe you're working it out by hand right now. That's okay. Come back when you have a calculator, rewatch the webinar. You'll be just fine, I promise. Now, the first thing you should do when you have an equation that you're trying to put in your Desmos is for sure typing it into the calculator. You're going to use the math tools to make absolute value bars. If you look down at the bottom, there's an A with some bars around it. That's my absolute value bars. If you know how to use these tools, you don't necessarily have to do the calculations by hand. You can. Miss Ashley loves working these out by hand. She doesn't trust the calculators as much as I do, right? And if you have time, you should absolutely check all of these.
I think it's our age difference. I will say that. We had the TI 87s or 3s. No online calculators for
fancy color calculators. So we type it in. We use the math tools to type in those absolute value bars. And you're going to notice we got some lines pop up. Now, those lines cross our x-axis, and where they cross our x-axis are our solutions. Now, we got to be extra careful because we don't have a dot we can click when we type these ones in. Now, there is a way, if you knew how to graph your other lines, your y equals 0, maybe you're real smart, maybe you can find those intersections. That's a little bit of homework for my kids that are good with the calculator. But if you're just looking here, we can see we have a solution at x equals -1. I can tell because it's in between -2 and 0. You remember your number line, right? That's got to be -1. If you zoom in, it'll also show you that. And I have another solution at 9. I have 8. I have 10. We know that 9 is going to be one of those solutions as well. So I have -1. I have 9. Those are both solutions. You guys are going to have a poll. We're going to put, boom, our question back up. What did you get? What is the positive solution to the given equation here? Boom, we had a couple answers.
We've got 41% that have already put in an answer. Great job, you guys. I've got 91% with the answer 9. Nobody put -5.
But we have -1 as an answer. I make that positive, isn't it? Is that what they need?
No, 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 no. They need a positive. Did you say a negative? Pass through a positive solution.
So even though if I made -1 positive, it would be one of my answer choices. Don't do that. One of my solutions was positive, one was negative. And notice we have a fill in the blank here. We're going to talk more about that later. Not every question on your SAT is going to be multiple choice. So just
Unfortunately, it's not.
Be extra careful.
Be very mindful when you're putting in those.
And be extra careful reading these problems. If you're breezing through these problems, working super fast, I promise that you'll have some tricky answers on there. And maybe you didn't read the word positive solution. You saw a solution. You got an answer. You calculated everything correctly. What you can calculate that's not the positive solution will also be there. So be extra careful.
I've got 86% that got it correct.
Good job in my
Way to go, you guys. Excellent.
Awesome. Now we're going to make things a little bit tougher. It says which expression, an expression is equivalent to 16x to the third power, we call that cubed, times y squared, that's the second power, plus 14xy. And they gave me a bunch of answers with a bunch of letters. That is way too many letters for some of us. Now, we can't always jam stuff straight into the calculator. So if you type this in, you're probably going to get one of those caution signs on Desmos, right? It's not a calculator SAT. You still got to have these math skills. The calculator is just a tool. You got math school too. That's cool. You should be doing math schools in school. Now, all of our answer choices are in the form of factors, and that's going to help us solve using another.
It's going to help us solve using a.
Now, you guys should be getting a poll popping up, and it's going to say, what strategy are you going to try? Now, don't feel like you have to rush and put the answer to the question just yet, right? We're going to work through the problem. We're going to work through it. So if you're rushing and you got the answer, cool. We're still going to talk through
it. 82%, work it by hand. Oh, wow. We got
kids that are still going to try to graph this one out. I told you guys that would be tough. I told you it would be tough. I love the calculator, but sometimes Miss Ashley's got
factoring is I don't. You can make mistakes factoring, so I like to go back and check my work and work it by hand.
Yep. And eliminating and back checking, not a bad way to solve this one either. And if you're not sure, that's okay. Remember, we're giving you guys tools. And when you're practicing, when you're going back and rewatching this video, you're going to find what you like doing best. Maybe you always start with a calculator. That's cool. It'd be nice to recognize problems you can't type in, but that's a quick way to have a way to start the problem. If you get stuck, flag it for review. We're going to come back. Now,
would you say flag it?
Yep, you flag it for review and you go back and look at questions. Don't sit there stumped on a question.
95 seconds per question, you guys. If you get stumped, mark it for review. That's one of your tools within your SAT.
That's right. Now, we're going to go ahead and solve this one by eliminating and back checking. So, Miss Ashley, how much percentage do we have set eliminated back check?
I was going to say it's only 13% eliminate and back check. I've got 79% working it by hand. Let's go.
Now, this one's a fantastic problem to eliminate and back check on. So all my answers are kind of in the same format. Now we're going to have the coefficient. Those are the numbers in front of each answer. So remember, your coefficients are these numbers here. I'm going to highlight them in our answers here. The 2s and the 8s, those are coefficients. The 14s and the 2s are coefficients. And the 14 and the 8, all coefficients. Remember those vocab? They could ask you questions about what the coefficient would be. Now, we're going to look at the coefficients. These other numbers, those are constants, right? Those are constants. Those are constants. Those are just regular old numbers because they don't have these letters next to them. Letters. What are those letters called again, Ms. Ashley?
Variables. The letters in the equations are called variables.
Yeah, those are variables. So we got a lot of moving pieces. I just started marking a lot of them. So make sure you know what the pieces are. Now, the coefficients of each answer can be multiplied together to get the coefficient of our original expression. So I have answer C gives us 14 times 2 equals 28. Now I'm going to highlight what I'm talking about here. If I go to answer C, maybe I started in the middle because yesterday Skylar and Ashley said we can start in the middle and see if our answers got to get big.
Yes.
Right? Great strategy.
This is a good
We're going to
strategy.
just start with C, right? I'm going to start with C. I know that when I multiply this 14 in there, 14 times 2 is going to start off my problem with a 28. And if I look up at my expression, right, I'm back checking, there's not a single 28 in there. There's actually, you see one?
I do not see a 28. I am loving this strategy for this question.
Right, so I don't want to deal with that nonsense. Absolutely not. We can, Miss Ashley has a fantastic phrase for that. What's our name for that? We put a slash through the
Slash the trash. My apologies. I didn't hear you, Skylar. Always slash the trash so you know not to go back and put the wrong answer. That's one of the tools within your blue book, SAT blue book.
That's right. You have a slash the trash tool. It's called strike through. That's what they're going to call it. But remember, that's the slash the trash tool. Now we can check answer D as well. Maybe we don't know if we're trying to get bigger or smaller, right? If you check answer D, you're going to get 14 times 8. And 14 times 8 gives you 112. There is not 112 up in my top.
Strike it.
Strike it out. Now.
Wait, what's equivalent mean?
Oh, equivalent. That's like equals to, right? They didn't put an equal sign in this. That's why it's an expression. Remember, expressions are sets of numbers, right? We got coefficients. We got set of terms, I should say. An equation, that one, not equivalent. An equation has an equal sign. Now, if I drew an equal sign in here, I would make an equation with two equivalent expressions. Now, you're definitely going to have to rewind it and go back and watch that phrase again. But remember, two equivalent expressions make an equation. Say that one 5 times fast, and you will be a math expert. Now, we've already eliminated 2 of our wrong answers. We slashed 2 trashes. The only difference between A and B is the exponent on X. You see how those are almost identical? So even if you had to guess from this point, you would probably be doing pretty good just because you slashed some trash, right? We could guess, and if that's your educated guess, you're doing great. We're going to take it a step further. Now, there's an x cubed, x to the 3rd power in our original expression. So this x cubed, that comes from the multiplication of my x's. And so if I take my x's and answer B, I'm going to get x times x squared. Those multiply with each other. And if I take my x times this x, x times x, ooh, we got to see, and we got to remember our exponent rules. So maybe this question comes down to, do you remember what x times x squared is? And do you remember what x times x is? We need 3 x's multiplying by each other because exponents mean multiply times each other 3 times when it's cubed. That's what that means. So be extra careful. Only one of these things multiplies an x and an x squared to make x cubed. Miss Ashley helped us slash some trash, and we can get our answer.
87% got the correct answer.
Fantastic.
87%.
I know we got some super big brains in here. You guys are knocking these polls out of the park. If you guys aren't being challenged by the problem, I'm hoping that you're taking these tools that we're using and using them on other problems so that you guys can speed up the process on these ones that you know how to do, because you will hit problems that are extra challenging. And we're going to give you some of those problems, I promise. Now, we have a big, tough example here, number 5. Now, It is a big expression. It says which of the following is equivalent to that expression. We talked about that in the last problem, and we have a big, 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 big problem here. Now, I want you guys to take 60 seconds to start this problem using any method you like. While you guys start it, we're going to talk through it, right? We'll read through it. But you guys, I want you to write it down. Maybe you're graphing it out. Maybe you're trying to eliminate it, back check. Now, be tough. But up at the top, we have 2x plus 5 all squared minus x minus 2 plus 2 times all of x plus 3. We got a lot of parentheses. We got a lot of exponents. We got a lot going on.
Yes, lots of going on in this.
And all of those things, they all got 3 terms. They're cool. We got another vocab word, bonus vocab word. We have 3 numbers in a term that we can't combine. And remember, that's called the trinomial.
Ooh, that's a big word.
But trinomial answers on this one.
It's
Now,
not a binomial? No.
binomials have 2 parts. Trinomials have 3 parts. So you guys should be seeing a poll. Well, one of the questions in the poll is going to ask you what your first move in the problem was. Maybe you tried typing this into Desmos. Maybe you tried working it by hand. Maybe you guys eliminated clearly wrong answers right away. The first part's going to ask for your answer, right? Which of the following is equivalent? If you don't know that, skip it, and you can tell us your first move. We're going to go through the problem. So don't stress about that. Don't stress. Don't fret.
62% say work it by hand. You guys picked your own strategy. I love it. I've got 3% saying something else. Wow. I like that.
I want to know. Flood some emails. Find an email address. Tell them how you solved this problem, and we will read those emails if we can. That's what we're going to do. Now,
Oh, we've got a deadlock on the answers, though. We're all about deadlocked on all 4.
okay, we're going to have something to talk about on this one because this one's a little bit tough. Now, if you typed it into your Desmos graphing calculator, there's definitely ways that we can find a solution, but they might take just as long as working it by hand. Now, if you went to try to back check this one, you're going to do a lot of work trying to back check this one. This is not the time to back check. So if you went and looked at it, you're like, I don't even know. You would have to like factor this one.
I will say 63% said work it by hand. So
we're going to go ahead and we're going to work this one by hand. Now, anytime you're working a problem out by hand, you should start by writing out the problem. Write out the original problem, double, triple check that you wrote it out exactly the same way that they had it on the problem when they gave it to you. Now, I have this exponent to the second power. What does to the second power mean again, Miss Ashley?
the second power means that you are going to square it.
Oh, I'm going to square it. And squaring is when you multiply something times itself. So if I multiply something times itself, that means everything in that parentheses. So I have to write this out. Now, this might be scaring some of you guys. Remember in your algebra 1, because I have a set of parentheses touching a set of parentheses. Oh, no, we're going to have to FOIL now. Ms. Ashley's from Arkansas. Ms. Ashley, do they do FOIL in Arkansas?
Obviously, we FOIL first, outside, inside, last. You guys don't forget these mnemonic words. So PIMDA, Scholar said a lot of it tonight, so it'll be great.
Good. So first, those are my first 2 numbers in each binomial. Those are the 2-part numbers, right? We said that word binomial earlier, right? Those are the first 2. I multiply those 2. I multiply my outside 2 numbers. I multiply my inside 2 numbers. And then I multiply my last 2 numbers. Now, what that does is it multiplies the first term times both things and the second term times both of the things. So everything gets multiplied, which is fantastic, except now I just got a bunch of numbers. It's a whole lot of stuff going on. Now, this next step is muy importante. That is super important.
It's crucial. It is crucial. This step is crucial to getting this answer correct.
I think some of us might have missed it. Now, Miss Ashley, what might we have forgotten to do?
I'm not sure if everybody distributed the negative. Make sure you distribute that negative to x and to -2. Always distribute it to both.
Now, distributing to that second term is the bane of my existence. I forget to distribute to both terms all of the time. The students correct me. I have to go back and fix it, or maybe I do it on purpose so they don't mess it up. That's what I say, at least. So we're going to go ahead and do it right this time. We distribute to both of those terms. So I have a negative x and I have a positive 2. Remember, a negative times a negative is a positive. So change that sign. Now, I have to keep on distributing. So the next thing I'm going to do is distribute that 2 to both of the things. Don't leave that 3 out. That's 3, a little bit of love. 2 times x and 2 times 3, it's going to give me 2x, and it's going to give me 6. We've done a lot of distributing.
7.
Oh, no, it came back. I wasn't ready for that one. But man, that surprised me. I think that all of our webinar students probably said it too. They've been saying it this whole time. Now, this next step is a little bit strange, and some students don't do it and some students do it. I'm going to take some time and I'm going to put all of my like terms next to each other. Now, a like term has the same x's with the same exponents, right? The same variables with the same degrees are fancy words for it, but I have only one x squared term. Maybe I underline that. This is how I keep track of it. I have just an x, and I'm going to put a little caret under it, right? Just a little up arrow, so I don't have to draw between my numbers. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put an up caret on this x because it matches the other ones with just x to the power of 1. And then I have another x right here.
I love that strategy.
I mark all of my x's with an up caret, and I underline my x squared. Now, all of my constants, those are my numbers that are just numbers. That's cool. We like those ones. Grew up with those ones. And then I'm going to put some down carets on all my constants. Now, what that's going to help me do is line all these up. So I'm going to have an x squared underline. All of my x's are going to be next to each other with these up carets, and then all of my constants with my little down carets, right? You can draw whatever some you know. I have some students do dots. I have some students do both stars. I just don't like drawing between my numbers because then sometimes I turn a negative into a positive. It gets messy. Anyway, I lined all my stuff up. They're going to be super easy to add up. Remember, you could only add the x squareds with the x squareds and the x's with the x's and the numbers with the numbers. And when I put all of those together, you're going to get your final answer of 4x squared plus 21x plus 33. What was our second most common answer, Miss Ashley?
Our second most common answer was 4x squared plus 21x plus 29. And what do you think they forgot to do?
Now, if you forgot to distribute that negative or forgot to distribute that 2 to the second term, you might have ended up at that 29. So we got to be extra careful. And this is what we have to look at when they put together these questions for the SAT and they put together these answers. They're going to put the common incorrect answers. They know the tricks. They wrote the test. So
they want you to be able to adapt to this test. You know, it's an adaptive test, so it's going to get harder. The harder the questions get, the better you'll do. So don't give up.
That's right. And if you look at all of these answers, they look so similar. Make sure you read them carefully. They're all cousins. They all hang out. They all go to barbecues together.
38% got it correct.
That's right. So a little bit more challenging. Don't feel bad if you didn't get it right. Hopefully, we found the little ditch that's holding you back from getting these right answers.
We learned from our mistakes, you guys.
Yes, we want you to learn now so that we don't hit those on your SAT. Now, I have another example that I'm going to have to work through with you guys live on the Desmos graphing calculator. And this one is extra tough. So I have a big problem here, and we got another trinomial. Gross. It says, which of these following expressions is a factor of 3x squared plus 20x minus 63? I want to give you guys 60 seconds. Start the problem. Write it down at the very least, and maybe you work it out after the webinar if you don't get through working it on the calculator or don't get through working it with me. I'm going to show you guys some strategies that we can use on a tougher problem. Because back checking on this is going to be a little tough, right?
And this would be a hard question. This would be a labeled a hard question. Easy, medium, hard.
Eliminate and back check. All the answers are so similar. And work it by hand? How do I even start working it by hand?
Nope, that wouldn't be me. I wouldn't start with working it by hand this time.
That one's tough. Maybe I got factor, but then I got a 3 and I got a negative 63 in there. Those are tough to factor.
Could we graph it?
Oh, we might be able to graph this one.
Or use the quadratic formula?
Let's go ahead and pull that one in. So hopefully you guys had some time to write that down. I'm going to pull over a Desmos graphing calculator that you guys are going to look at live. Now, I've typed in a couple of things just for us to look at. I want us to see them and see kind of what you can do to help yourself out on some of these tougher problems. So I have my original expression up here, the 3x squared plus 20x minus 63. Now, we might recognize this guy right here. That is our quadratic formula. I just put the plus and negative sign next to each other, right? But we have an x equals, remember, it's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, right?
You must know that, you guys. They don't give you that on the test.
Now, I know I just said it super fast to be funny, but you guys have to remember it on your test. I am absolutely positive that your teachers will have some kind of song or have some kind of thing to help you memorize that on the test. We had to learn ours in a super annoying song that I would never say in a webinar to you guys and be checking you. I would never do that to you, but find a way to memorize it. Now, what I can do, if you remember that we have an A, a B, and C, remember the 3, the coefficient is the A, the 20 is the B, and the negative 63 is the C. We can actually plug this in to our calculator and let it do a lot of the heavy lifting for us. You can put all of the quadratic formula in, and you'll know if you have an error because you'll have a caution sign. I have stuff that's blank, so it's telling me that, hey, Skylar, you're messing this up. So I'm going to put in negative b. I put in a 20. I put parentheses so you can see where I'm typing things in. Negative b, I have a plus b squared. I type in my 20 again, minus 4 times a. That's my number at the beginning as 3 times c, which is my negative 63. So when I put all of those in all over 2a again, one more time, I put in the 3. You see how I get an answer. That's that 2.333333. It's going to keep on going. Now, that is what my x equals. And you're going to have to remember how to get your roots from your x equals, right? I have an x equals 9, and I have a 3x minus 7 equals 0. That's what my x equals. I know for sure that that's not going to turn back into the 9, right? So at the very least, maybe we can cross that out. If you do a little bit of algebra here and add your 7 to both sides, right? Add your 7, and then you subtract your 3, or not subtract your 3, actually subtract your 3.
Let's see the 3x. It's okay. We all make mistakes, and we learn from our mistakes.
Divide your 3, right? You're going to get x equals 7 over 3. And if you do that, you actually get that 2.33 as well. So that's kind of going to show us where our answer is. But let me show you another thing that you guys can do to see your answers. Now, you guys see I have a couple of things graphed here. Now, the 2 things that I have graphed are actually the 2 potential solutions they gave us. Remember, it was the number 1 and the number 2. So if I look here, I had that x minus 9 equals 0. That's that black. Let's zoom out just a little.
Make sure you use those tools, you guys, to zoom in and out.
That's right. These tools
of the
will help.
Desmos calculator.
You see how that black line is nowhere near my answers, right? That one's not going to be it. So the x minus 9 is not a solution, but that green line goes through my root and is actually the solution. So the Desmos calculator can help you out on these tough ones. It can save you some time, but you still need to know the math behind it. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to give you guys, I'm so sorry, your answer to that one was 2.
I've got 57% that said 2 only.
Fantastic job. Now, what we're going to do is give you guys some time to try a couple of problems. Now, we don't have polls for these ones. What's going to happen is that you guys are going to write them out. You're going to try to work them out. If you don't get through all of them, that's okay, right? working out.
Yes, yes. If
Seriously,
you'll
I
come
can
back, you
recognize.
can come back to it. You're here now, so I assume you'll come back and study it again, which is fabulous.
But at the very least, take some time, write these ones out. We have 2 problems that are kind of bonuses for you guys to try working out on your own. So I have a 90y to the 5th minus 54y to the 4th is equivalent to ry to the 4th times 15y minus 9. And they want to know what the value of r is. I don't think I can type all that into this, right? So we have a little bit tougher of a problem, and it's a fill in the blank. So we got a little bit tougher of a problem, and it's fill in the blank. We also have one that asks you for the minimum value of that given function there. I have f of x equals x squared minus 48x plus 2,304. That's a big number. Minimum value, top or the bottom? Minimum. So we're giving you guys a minute. We're going to go ahead and at least show you the first answer. So if you got 6, you did a fantastic job. We get there by kind of figuring out, I would use what number times 15 equals 90. Do a little bit of division there.
Perfect. Look at that.
Right. So 6 times that 15 is going to equal 90. So that's how I get that 6. And then since I have y to the 5th here, we kind of talked about how y to the 4th times y, talked about those exponent rules, makes, right, y to the 5th. So we're going to make sure we have 6y to the 4th. So we multiply that in. It's going
Super important to make sure you put the exponent so you get the answer correct. These are fill in the blanks, you guys. It's another way of them testing you.
Now, the minimum value of the given function here is 1,728. If you graph this on Desmos, you would see that the bottom of your parabola is 1,728. You can type that in and click your vertex, and you will get what you need, I promise. Now, it's time to hear about what you're getting from today. Did you guys get some Desmos calculator tips and tricks? Is that what you took away? Maybe we improved your understanding of nonlinear equations and systems, right? You guys are working so hard. Maybe you got a little bit better at that today. Did you guys get a confidence boost?
Yes, be confident in your abilities. I'm seeing a lot of people improved understanding of nonlinear equations and systems. So that is fabulous because that's what we wanted for you today. That was our goal today.
And maybe you just learned about some of those common questions, maybe those common mistakes. We want to see and we want to hear, how it went, right? Hopefully you guys feel a little bit confident. Like Miss Ashley said, confidence is key. You guys are feeling good because you did a little bit of extra practice. You should be. You've been putting in that work. You should be getting better, and you did get better today. You guys were doing great. Now, we also want to know, how much more confident are you feeling, right? We're going to zone in on that confidence. How much more confident are you today? Are you like, I got this? I'm way more confident now. Maybe we showed you some of those tools to make you a little bit better. Maybe we just taught you, hey, I actually don't have to spend the time doing that. Or maybe, hey, I know how to work that one out by hand. I can foil. I can figure it out. Maybe you're getting it. You feel more confident in general.
Yeah, you can. A lot of people are getting it. 40% say they feel more confident, which is fabulous. And a little better, starting to feel a little bit more confident is amazing because this is what we wanted from you guys.
Fantastic. Now, if you're still lost, maybe the same as before, maybe it was all too much of a rush again for sending me the recording. You still have your notes from today because you were taking notes. Take those notes, rewatch the recording.
You will see the PowerPoint too, the Google Slides.
Right. Get some of those light bulbs shining in your brains. Now, one little treat for you guys. I want you guys to check out this video that TBT's put together for you guys, and then I'm going to tell you about your homework.
At Tutored by Teachers, we believe every student deserves high-quality, personalized instruction. We partner with schools to deliver tutoring powered by our community of highly qualified teachers. Our high-dosage tutoring model is proven to boost growth, close learning gaps, and help build confidence. Our teachers build strong relationships by working with the same group of 3 to 4 students each week across a semester or even an entire academic year. With more than 1 million tutoring hours delivered, we've become a trusted partner to districts and states across the country to help students achieve academic growth. Learn more at tutored.live.
Now, all of you guys did absolutely fantastic today. Make sure that you guys come back for session 1 of reading and writing tomorrow.
Don't forget to come back to reading, writing tomorrow. I will be here.
Your homework tonight, go to your teacher. Tell them you did some SAT prep with Tutored by teachers in the Georgia Department of Education. They work for the Georgia Department of Education. They know who they are. And you guys tell your principals that you guys had a great session. Say, hey, I went to this SAT prep. I got a little bit more confident. And they will appreciate, 1, that you're out there doing that extra work, and 2, that you're using the resources that are available to you to do that work. So you guys did a great job today. You guys are absolutely free to have a great rest of your evening. But
Thank you for coming too. Come back tomorrow. Please come back tomorrow because we definitely want to increase those read writing strategies and skills.
we talked about all kinds of vocab in that today. You guys better go to reading and writing so that we can do some critical reading on those real world application problems.
Yes.
Up on your SAT. You guys absolutely go to reading and writing tomorrow and be ready to go. You guys did great today. You can
Don't forget to tell your principals and teachers that you do feel more confident in your abilities to take that SAT. Thank you for coming, everyone, and participating and not being scared to do the polls. We're just so grateful for you all.
That's right. Thank you guys. Thank you for putting in some extra work. It's awesome to see students going out there and trying to get better. And we love nothing more than helping you guys try to get better. You guys are doing great this evening. You guys have a fantastic night. You are free to sign off. We will see you guys tomorrow for reading and writing session 1. Good.
Bye.